Okay, I thought I'd try and make a video of the little WLtoys F949. Now this is pretty much the most basic plane you can get. 3-channel. It's also about the cheapest sensible plane you can get. It comes complete with its controller, battery, battery charger, ready to fly, and Tomtop had it on sale just this week for $47 and change Canadian, including shipping. Batteries, well, this isn't the battery that came with it. A 500 milliamp hour battery comes with it. This is actually probably a little bit more than that. So you've got lots of, even with the main battery, you've got lots of battery time, and you can put easily up to like a 750 or something in it. So you've got lots and lots of flying time with it. I don't think I've ever flown it to the point where the battery was seriously discharged, really. I'm trying to put the battery hatch on here. Does not, so long as you put the catch on right, the battery hatch does not fall off. I've taken the undercarriage off because flying it over grass, you're better off with the undercarriage. The only other thing I've changed is I've put a prop saver on here. It comes just with a little, actually it's about a 5x4 propeller, glued or pushed anyway onto the end of that plastic shaft. I put a prop saver on, and that's a GWS, I think 4x2.5 or something. Can't quite read the pitch on that propeller. Yeah, 4x2.5. There we go, we're bound. Obviously not a fancy plane, but, I mean, you know, it's fairly comparable to something like, say, the Hobby Zone Champ. I like it better than the Champ. I mean, I'd certainly rather be trying to fly this outdoors than I would be trying to fly the Champ outdoors. And it's, of course, as I just said, way cheaper than the Champ. So I think it's, you know, a great little thing. Basically, for somebody who wants to experiment a bit with flying, have to hand launch it, of course. Have to hand launch it, of course, with no undercarriage. Well, I'd have to hand launch it anyway, pretty much. Now, I mean, of course, because it's 3-channel, about all you can do in the way of aerobatics with it is a loop, right? Because it's not got any ailerons, so you can't roll it and whatever. But you can learn, you could certainly learn basic 3-channel control with it. And it's the, you know, it's the sort of thing you can throw up pretty much anywhere. Well, actually, I'm not wild about flying it indoors. You can fly it indoors, of course, but I mean, I spent a lot more time flying it outdoors. You can throw it up in a park. It's very, very light, well under the sort of minimum regulated weight for, you know, more regulated drones. I don't know what it weighs, but only, you know, like 2 or 3 ounces. It's not much at all. It's a very, very lightweight plane. I've had this one for quite a while. It's on its second set of motors. It's powered in a very funny way, oddly enough. Instead of having one motor, it has a set of 3 brushed motors, all of which sort of sit in a triangle and drive the one gear that drives the propeller. I have no idea whose idea this was and why they did it, but it seems to work fine. The only thing is pretty much if one of the motors goes or whatever, you kind of have to replace the whole set. But a new set of motors, you can order a new set of motors. I think it's like $10 or something like that. I know this is on its second set of motors, and I've got another spare set of motors sitting at home for it. I guess when I ordered them, I ordered a couple. The first one did go. One of the wires, I don't know, came loose or burnt out, and I couldn't repair it. I couldn't get it working again, so I ordered a new set of motors, and I guess I got 2 when I ordered them, because I see I've got an unused one, as well as the old one that I took out. I've got a new one in its packet sitting at home. did change the propeller. It comes with one spare propeller, and the propeller's almost the only thing you can break. I mean, if you stepped on it or ran it into an iron post, maybe you could break it. Otherwise, I mean, it's pretty damn tough. And one thing about it, you do need to keep a bit of speed on it naturally, like any plane, I suppose. If you let it slow down too much, it really doesn't steer particularly. You can glide it pretty much a bit, but you can't steer it when it's in a glide. It doesn't pay the slightest attention to the rudder when it's in a glide. It just keeps gliding in the direction it's in. So if you're landing it, you've pretty much got to point it in the direction you want to land it in under power, and then cut the power. Because as I say, once you cut the power, it'll glide, but it pretty much totally ignores the rudder when there's no power. Yeah, so after I broke a couple of the propellers that came with it, I just put just a standard little prop saver. The gear from the three motors goes to a plastic shaft, and the prop shaft is actually plastic that comes out front of that motor set, about 1/8 of an inch in diameter, something like that. I put a prop saver on the end of it, and so then I can just use O-rings to put a standard, any standard prop tube that goes on a prop saver on it. This is, I think, as I said, GWS 4 by 2.5, which is a rather smaller prop than the original. I was looking, I've got a spare original at home, and I just looked at it before I came out, and it looks like it's about a 5 by, it doesn't actually say on it, but it looks like it's about a 5 by 4, the original. Seems to me to fly okay with this prop, though. I might try putting a 4, but I've got some 4x4s. If I've got a 4x4 in my pocket, I might try putting a 4x4 on it. But the prop saver certainly, because the props are, otherwise the props are the only thing you can break. You can certainly break the original, but the original props are a little bit brittle, and if you whack it into something front ways, yes, you can break the original prop. See what I mean? Yes, it's not exciting, but I mean, it's a real plane. It doesn't have any kind of stabilization, doesn't need it. Has a bit of dihedral, which gives it a sort of natural tendency to be somewhat self-stabilizing. And, as I say, it's a similar sort of thing to the Hobby Zone Champ, but personally, I much prefer this to Hobby Zone Champ. You can fly it for much longer on a battery, and it just seems more controllable. And tougher as well, less prone to breaking. So personally, I like Hobby Zone products. I'm not running them down. I have lots of Hobby Zone products. You can see if you look at my videos. I fly lots of E-Fly and Park Zone stuff, and I like their stuff a lot. But at this point, for a first 3-channel plane, I'd say go with this guy. I mean, heck, $40, $50. It's no particular investment, and it's a fun little thing to fly. And then, if you like flying this guy, then you can invest some more money in something a bit fancier. But it's a great way to sort of try RC flying without any significant investment, as it were. And without any particular danger. I mean, well, other than wandering into the street, I think you could fly this thing right into yourself or somebody else, and I don't think you'd ever do anybody any harm with it, really. It's very, very light. Well, I suppose that's, about all you can say. I mean, I might as well land him. I might as well think of bringing him in for a landing. Now, as I say, the one thing about that is you do have to line him up. You have to think about it a little bit. Well, ideally. I mean, if you just bung him down somewhere, I mean, he's not going to come to much harm, but you can't really steer him with the power off. So if you want him to land where you want it, in a particular place, you kind of have to point him in the right direction. See what I mean? He buggered off there where I didn't want him. And then, managed to land him in the long grass then. Managed to land him just in the long grass. He landed extremely naked. Whatever, but of course I wasn't trying to land him in the long grass, as I say. You've got to get him pointed in the right direction, and then cut the power. This propeller looks a bit kind of cockeyed, frankly, but pointed a bit off centre, I think, to compensate for the... would it need to compensate the torque? I guess it would. Well, he seemed to be flying okay, and his propeller most certainly is pointed off centre. He does not have any throttle cut on the transmitter, so you got